Good evening and welcome to the March 24th, 2020 meeting of the Pequannock Township Council. Ms. Marsh?
In accordance with the requirements of New Jersey's Open Public Meetings Act, notice of this meeting was included in the annual meeting notice, which was filed in the office of the Township Clerk, posted on the bulletin board in the municipal building, published as a legal notice in the Suburban Trends newspaper, and distributed to all persons requesting notice in accordance with Township policy. Information on remote access was provided to the Suburban Trends, Daily Record, and Record newspapers and posted on the Township's website.
Thank you. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a prayer and a moment of thanks for individuals serving our nation. In these difficult weeks, our prayers are especially with the Township of Pequannock. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America,
and to the republic
for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty, justice for all.
Most gracious Providence, we ask that you bless this governing body with an abundance of wisdom and understanding, so that every deliberation will result in actions which will promote the common good and the general welfare for all the people of Pequannock Township. Amen.
Amen. Okay, the clerk, will you please call the roll?
For the record, I'm going to take a more extensive roll call than normal. I'm going to call for the council, members of the staff, and then I'll call for any members of the public so we know who's on the meeting. Mrs. Florence Lynch? Here. Mr. Cole?
Here.
Mr. Phelan?
I'm definitely here.
Mrs. Russell?
Here.
Mayor Hurd?
I am here.
Mr. Oostek?
I'm here.
Mr. Brewer?
I am here.
Is there anyone else in the meeting? Ms. Webb? Casey? Okay. Thank you very much.
In order to better accommodate the format of this meeting and ensure the business of the council is completed, we are going to modify the order of the agenda. There are no presentations, so we will start the meeting with the introduction of the 2020 municipal budget. Follow the agenda through the council reports and announcements, and then take volunteer reports and public comment. Following public comment, there will be a closed session for the council to discuss contract negotiations and litigation regarding tax appeals. No actions will be taken following the closed session. We will begin with the introduction of 2020 municipal budget. Mr. Brewer?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank everyone for participating in the budget process thus far. As I said in prior years, last year especially here, many hands make light work. I'd like to thank the department heads, their staff that worked to put together a budget and ultimately have a document that is prepared for the council to potentially introduce this evening. To run over some quick highlights for the benefit of the record, there will be a more extensive presentation at the public hearing, but just so everyone is aware of the highlights and for the benefit of the record of the call, the 2020 municipal current fund budget has a total general appropriations of $20,130,769. Some highlights of the 2020 budget include a new payroll system and software to assist in the community rating system or CRS system that allows us to maximize the deduction or the discount that residents get on their flood insurance. The impact on the municipal tax levy for the current fund is projected to be 2%. That 2% includes the library's portion, which did increase. So the municipal spending is actually just under 2%. The impact on the average assessed home of $376,316 is $81.37 per year, $6.78 per month. The budget includes the open space tax levy to be reduced from 1 cent per hundred of assessed value to 0.6 of a cent per hundred of assessed value. The analysis of the open space trust fund is that there's adequate balance in the as of 12/31/19, and the levy expected to be collected at the 0.6 per hundred will be enough to provide for the projects that may be in mind. The general capital plan includes $1.5 million of projects for 2020. The water utility, sewer utility, solid waste utility, and recreation utilities are all balanced. Provided all things go as planned, the projected public hearing and potential adoption of the budget would be April 28th, 2020. If there's any questions on the budget, I'd be happy to answer them.
All right. Are there any comments from council on the budget before we take a vote? All righty. And the only comment I have is just to restate, the average house is assessed at $376,316, and they're looking at an increase in their taxes of $81.37 over the year, which is only $6.78 a month, correct?
Correct, and that is for the current fund as well as the library levies.
Excellent. Ms. Marsh, please read the resolution title.
I just have a quick question before.
Absolutely.
Russell.
Kyle?
Adam, we don't need to revisit any of these numbers being the current state that we're going through right now?
We had discussion about that, and there has been discussion among my peers in other municipalities on that subject. If there were concrete things to be aware of, or there was something specific that we could account for, I would say yes. Unfortunately, the experience that I had in 2008 and 9 was the impact of the recession was felt by municipalities a year or two after. So it's something we're mindful of, but I'm not aware of any step that we could take at this moment.
Like we
So, I have some-
maybe we shouldn't buy that new truck because we may need that money for something else. Like this, wouldn't be prudent to like back off on some of our big purchases, or you feel everything we're buying is needed right now?
As of the preparation of the budget, everything that is included in the budget is necessary. That said, we're going to move forward with prudence. The 2020 capital budget is overwhelmingly supported by cash, and therefore, if we're in a situation where we're uncertain, purchasing vehicles, although authorized, will only be done when needed.
Gotcha. That's what was my concern. Okay, great.
Okay, I have a question. What was the average house value in Pequannock?
For 2020, it's $376,316.
Okay. So
$81.
$81 on that. So if your house is twice that value, it is more than $81. It's twice that times 81. Correct?
Correct.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? Alrighty, Mrs. March, please read the resolution title.
This is Resolution R 2020-95, approving introduction of the 2020 municipal budget.
Is there a motion to adopt Resolution R 2020-95, approving introduction of the 2020 municipal budget?
I'll make the motion.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Okay, so Mr. Phelan first and Kyle Russell second, is that correct?
Yes.
Excellent. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Florence Lynch?
Yes.
Mr. Cole?
Yes.
Mr. Phelan?
Yes.
Mrs. Russell?
Yes.
Mayor Hurd?
Yes. Okay, next is the manager's report. Mr. Brewer?
I just have a brief question. Did someone come in on the call right before we voted?
Let's take stock. Council is on the call.
That may be me going unmute. Kyle.
Okay.
Well, I think
Are there any other members
I heard
also
those
muted?
bells.
I'm also muted. Are there any other computer? Oh, maybe there. That's what you got. It's me.
Okay.
I'll just do a quick question. Are there any other members of the public on the phone call other than Miss Stacy Webb?
Dave Holberg.
Mr. Holberg, welcome. Thank you. I just want to make sure that we have everybody up there. Okay, next is the manager's report. Mr. Brewer.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Obviously, we're operating under unusual circumstances, and we've got some challenging times, which is why the council is on the telephone with the public, and Mr. Oostdijk and I are sitting in the council chambers. As everyone may be aware, on March 13th, President Trump declared a national state of emergency. On March 9th, Governor Murphy issued Executive Order 103, declaring both a public health and state of emergency within the state of New Jersey. And on March 19th, 2020, the County of Morris declared a state of emergency. Since that time, there have been subsequent orders, administrative direction, and clarifications. Most notably, on Saturday, Executive Order 107 was issued by Governor Murphy, urging residents to stay home, closing all but essential businesses, and directing social distancing. Recently, we had Order 109, which canceled any elective, by the Governor Murphy, Executive Order 109, which canceled any elective surgeries or dental procedures, and it seems most days there are more announcements coming out about different things that need to be done. So we're in a period of challenge, but for the benefit of the record, I just want to reiterate that the Township of Pequannock is continuing to operate. We are being mindful of health and safety, not only of the township residents, but the staff and all those who interact with the staff. The township buildings were closed last week to the public for walk-ins. However, an individual does have the ability to make an appointment should he or she need to meet with municipal staff. A drop box was installed in the front for payments to be made in a safe manner. Info has been posted on the township's website, which is peqtwp.org, and it is being updated to keep the residents abreast of the progress associated with many of these orders. We are not one of the regular news services. We're not keeping people up to the minute, up to date on every administrative directive that comes out. I leave that to the news media and other sources. We're trying to be specific to those things which we know will directly impact our residents. In times like this, my experience calls for keeping things simple. So I recommend what has been posted on our website, which we've heard from many other officials, which is remaining home whenever possible. Unless you're going out for one of the approved reasons in Executive Order 107, the directive says that everyone should stay home. Practicing social distance when interactions are necessary. Mr. Oostdijk and I are sitting a good 10 to 15 feet apart from each other. I haven't measured, that's just an eyeball. Washing your hands. Avoid touching your face, eyes, nose. Covering coughs when they do happen, and cleaning and disinfecting surfaces. These messages have been repeated on the postings on the township's website. Along with those messages on the township website, there are links to the CDC website, which is regularly being updated with expert advice. There's a link to the New Jersey Department of Health website, also with specific advice for New Jersey residents. There is a hotline for individuals to call with questions to the New Jersey Department of Health. That hotline is 1-800-222-1222. Once again, that number is 1-800-222-1222. There's also a link to the Morris County Municipal Government's website on coronavirus COVID-19. The Township's Health Department is taking the lead, as are health departments all over the state of New Jersey, the United States, and the world. They're fielding numerous calls. The public health nurses are actively engaged in tracking the transmission of the disease and working with all of our communities with which we have contracts. And the bottom line is the recommendation is anyone who has symptoms, anyone who's symptomatic, should reach out to their healthcare professional, and caution is really urged at this time. If the goal is to flatten the curve, which is the saying that's been out there, we really need to be mindful of the directives and take heed of not only our own safety, but the potential to impact others' safety. That is my report, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Brewer. And just to reiterate, if you go to peqtwdp.org, you can sign up for the alerts, and anything that you put out there will also be texted right to your phone. So you can get up-to-date information when we release it. That is correct. Okay, public hearings. There being no public hearings scheduled for this evening, we're going to move on. There are no ordinance scheduled for introduction at this time. The next agenda is resolutions. Ms. Marsh.
For the Council's consideration this evening, beginning with Resolution R 2020-96, authorizing release of designated escrow deposits, R 2020-97, authorizing cancellation of outstanding checks, R 2020-98, adopting an extended temporary budget for 2020, R 2020-99, allowing expenditures for public exigencies from the Storm Trust Fund, R 2020-100, authorizing the acceptance of a hold harmless agreement. That's for Block 2501, Lot 30. R 2020-101, approving designated special event permit applications. That's for the Pequannock Street Fair. On R 2020-102, approving payment of the itemized claims as set forth on the March 20th, 2020 bill list.
Thank you, Ms. Marsh. Are there any comments on the resolutions from council?
I just have one on 20-101. I assume by approving that permit application, that's not a problem if it gets moved for whatever reason. It can just be moved, right?
My recommendation would be to approve the resolution should the council see fit to do so. If we have to do it again, we can always do it again. If it canceled or some other action is taken, we can deal with it at that time.
Okay.
Anyone else? All right, is there a motion to adopt these resolutions?
I'll make a motion to adopt Resolution 2020-96 through 2020-102.
Excellent. Is there a second?
I'll second.
I'll second.
I'll second.
Mr. Cole?
I'm sorry, Councilman Phelan, I think you're fourth.
How about third?
All right, roll call, Ms. Marsh.
Mrs. Florence Lynch?
Yes.
Mr. Cole?
Yes.
Mr. Phelan?
Yes.
Mrs. Russell?
Yes.
Mayor Hurd?
Yes. Thank you. All right, items for discussion. There are no items for discussion, and there are no reports or notices. Next on our agenda, council reports and announcements. I'm going to start with Councilwoman Florence Lynch.
Okay, couple of things on meeting dates, obviously, with everything going on. Some of them have been canceled and moved. The planning board meeting that was scheduled for April 6th is canceled. That's been moved. The next one will be May 4th. Economic development would normally meet tomorrow, but I believe that one has been canceled as well. I did not get a formal report. But I will follow up, I think, because that one's supposed to be tomorrow, the 25th, and I believe they canceled that meeting. The flood meeting, the flood committee did meet on March 12th, and their next meeting is scheduled for April 9th. And I think I saw in your report, Mr. Brewer, we're still in waiting mode on that, on the FEMA, on the maps, right?
Correct.
The
scientific resolution panel, yes, the panel has been convened. We're waiting for notification of the schedule of the hearing.
Okay, thank you for that. And I just want to thank, as we all do, I just want to thank all the town employees for stepping up during these trying times, and thank all the volunteers from our fire department and first aid and EMS. And of course, all the volunteer organizations and individuals who have stepped up and done so much. You know, our community is so awesome. And let's keep our businesses, keep supporting our businesses. Everybody's stepping up to the plate, and we couldn't be prouder. And I just want to say thanks to everyone, and may all your family be safe and healthy. That's it.
All right, thank you, Councilwoman. Councilman Cole?
It's my understanding that the fair housing meeting is going to be canceled tomorrow night. Adam, if you can check, I did not get an email yet canceling that.
I'll follow up.
It's my
Yes, sir.
understanding that it is going to be canceled. As Councilwoman Florence Lynch said, I'd like to personally thank all the employees, our first responders, first aid squad especially, the police department especially, the fire department. Everyone's doing a fantastic job. I'd like to just remind them all to stay safe and healthy. I'd like to, remind our residents, to be well, be safe, do what, the governor and the president is telling us to do, and we will get through this together. Hopefully, in the matter of a few to 4 weeks, hopefully, things are back to normal. Keep my fingers crossed on that, but just, stay well, everyone. That's all I have.
Yeah, thank you, Councilman Cole. Councilman Phelan?
There was no shade tree meeting yesterday because of obvious reasons, and I just want to reiterate again what Councilman Cole and Councilwoman Florence Lynch had to say about thanking everybody who's going above and beyond what they need to do for this particular incident that we're going through.
Thank you, Councilman Phelan. Deputy Mayor Kyle Russell.
Yes, of course, what everybody else said is that thanking everybody in the township, especially our first responders and our volunteers and our workers and in general, the people of Pequannock who've come together. It's really amazing. Big shout out to the Board of Ed and all those teachers. They really managed to pull it together in a short time, and I'm just so impressed. They all really need a nice vacation when this is all over. I know I do after a week of at home. Mayor's cleanup has been postponed. A new date has not been chosen yet, but that was in April, and that's been postponed. But other than that, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, and for myself, unfortunately, all my meetings have been canceled. I am going to echo what everybody else is saying. I can't be more proud than anybody else about the amazing employees that we have, as well as our first responders. I understand that these are trying times, the first pandemic we've ever been through, so it is uncharted territory. And as we say, it's a fluid situation, so doing things day by day. And to have our men and women that are on the front lines, I feel for you. And if it wasn't for the guys and gals of the police and fire company 1 and 2 and our emergency responders, our ambulance group, everybody, I'm so proud, and you guys have our back. And that is absolutely awesome. So I definitely want to acknowledge you and hope and pray that you guys stay safe, as well as reiterate about social distancing. I know it's been a nice weekend, and it rained yesterday, but it was nice today, and I do see a lot of people outside. Again, I just ask that we stay 6 feet away while we're outside. Please stay off the play sets. We can't have any of the kids on the play sets. No parties. That also goes for any kind of makeup games or playing on the fields or anything like that. We all do have a little bit of responsibility. If we can work together, we can definitely knock this down and get back to some sort of normalcy faster or sooner than later. But again, as Deputy Mayor Russell said, this is an awesome community. I am proud to serve you, and stay safe. All right, so with that said, at this time, are there reports or comments from any of the volunteers who may be on the call?
Dave Holbrook from Chairman Flood Advisory Committee. We are going to attempt a meeting by teleconference next month. An abbreviated one just to keep everyone up to date. This is notwithstanding our current situation, this time of year, but we do have to consider flood issues. So I don't want to skip our April meeting. So we'll be attempting that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hallberg. I really do appreciate that. Okay, public comment. Next on the agenda is public comment. If anybody on the call wishes to address the council, please state your name. And when I recognize you, please provide your name and address for the record. Okay. Seeing none, or hearing none in this situation, there are no minutes presented for approval. So now the council will be meeting in closed session. I'm going to ask Mr. Uzdeg to explain how we're going to proceed. Mr. Uzdeg?
Thank you, Mayor. Because we're doing this by telephone conference and we have public accessibility to our telephone conference line, we're going to temporarily adjourn our public portion of the meeting, end our telephone conference. Everyone is going to hang up, including the council, and then there will be a separate telephone conference for the council alone to discuss our closed session matters. And following that, since we will be taking no action following it, we will briefly just adjourn the meeting thereafter. And again, there'll be nothing that occurs after the closed session except for the adjournment of our meeting. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Uzdeg. Is there a motion to approve Resolution R 2020-103 authorizing the Township Council to meet in executive session to discuss contract negotiations and tax appeals?
I'll make that motion.
Second?
I'll second.
Okay.
I third.
Councilman Cole first and Deputy Mayor Reifel second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. I heard you all. Opposed? Excellent. It is 7:29 o'clock. At this time, the public portion of the meeting is recessed for the closed session. Please note that no action will be taken following the closed session.
The call will be terminated at this time pending the second call for closed executive session.